I keep forgetting that when you update OBS, it resets your mic. Hello, wife Ripple and wife Faye. Wow, Train's not your wife? It's kind of fucked. Kinda fucked. Okay, so, we're gonna... Hope stream goes well. OBS says evil, yeah. We're gonna start with a poll. Simple poll. Do you think you are financially literate? Simple poll. So, just so everyone is aware, for the entirety of the stream, I'm not going to judge you for any life choices that you have done. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god, you're so bad with your fucking money. I am literally going to sit here. I'm going to explain to you how to do a budget, how to look at it from a perspective that works for me. I will also be posting this to my Discord if anyone is not in the Discord and would like it. I believe it is... Someone tell me if that one works or not. If it doesn't, just tell me and I'll give you a new one in DMs later. But I'll be posting this later. So far we have 3 no's for being financially literate. That's fine. Totally fine. I just find it funny how it's 100% no. No. But yeah, this is primarily going to be for the American audience, but the general idea of this should apply for basically anything. But yeah, does anyone have questions before we begin? There will be questions before, there will be questions after. Or there will be spaces for both of those, before and after. This also gives a chance for people who haven't seen the notif pop-up to slide in. Will the scope of this be mostly just within the current situation? Yes. A lot of it we're going to be doing guesstimations or standard things. If a war happens tomorrow, that's a very different situation than budgeting for today. If someone loses their job tomorrow, that's a very different situation that they have to deal with rather than like being in whatever job that you are currently within. So on and so forth. But yeah, for a lot of it, it'll be mostly in the current situation and within whatever means that we decide is logical. Does anyone else have questions before we begin? I'm just going to do the poll stuff. 3 people said they do not believe they are financially literate, and that is a-okay. Once again, there are no dumb questions. Unless you ask me what, like, money is, then that's kind of a dumb, kind of annoying question. I do have to update stream labels. But I will leave the board open for last few questions before we begin. So this is the budget for my household. As you can see, there are a lot of things there, but most of it is color-coded. This is hypothetical stuff for the most part, so don't worry about that. This is my effective pay for each month. Tennyson is very annoyed at me for speaking in his presence. These are bills that I have to pay every month for the household. That is split between me and my sister. Green means that I've already paid them for this month. These are just numbers for some of my side gig apps. But like this is the main thing that we're going to be looking at today. So, to begin. Average tax rate in US. So it's about 15%. We'll do paycheck tax rate. 15%. Okay. So, a lot of this is also going to be a tutorial on how to use Google Sheets. So what we're going to do is make a little slot here. So this is just going to be a cell that we're going to reference a lot. Not super important. So, monthly? Yes, monthly. Monthly gross pay. Does anyone know the difference between gross and net? One is income without tax. One is after. I always mix them up. So gross is before taxes. Oh, I had that wrong. So gross is taxes. The easy way that you can imagine it is that gross is big. Gross is a big thing. Net is what happens after things are filtered out. So if you have a handful of fish, some other stuff, and you throw them in the net, the water is going to leak out. So the water is your taxes. Okay, for me, I get paid $12 an hour. On average, my weeks are about 35 hours a week. So what we'll do, hourly pay. How the hell do I keep water in my net without the ocean coming after me? All right, this might get me canceled. Taxes are good. It's just the government uses them wrong. Water equals taxes. Yes. Boo. Taxes stinky. Do you like roads? Do you like education? And if you have a salary position, that's a lot easier. What you do is you would take your salary amount. So let's say like that. You would divide this by 12, and then that's your monthly. Easy. So what we'll do is we'll do this times 160 and do that times 12. I drive a forklift. The public school system did me dirty. I'm not saying that the public school system and roads are being properly funded as they should be, but that is what taxes are supposed to do. Conceptually, taxes are good. America does them wrong. So, as we can see, our monthly gross pay is $1,920. We pay $288 in taxes over the course of our paychecks, which means our net pay is $1,632. All right, what should we add next? This is your hint for what we're adding to this next. We are kind of formatting it like a balance sheet or income statement. I can't remember which. Let's check. What should we add next? Our regular expenses. You are 100% correct, dear. This is what we're kind of setting it up like. So this would be rent. This would be electricity, water, sewer, trash if applicable. Internet. So the rent for my household is $450. The electricity is $85.28. Water is approximately $45. Sewer is $40. Internet is $32. So these would be regular expenses that are things that we require to survive. And we get that number. So and then we just do this minus this, boom. So after we pay all of our bills, for the household, we have $652.28. This is not assuming that you have like medication, that you have like a phone bill. We'll toss phone bill in there. My phone bill is $25. So we'll add that in. There we go. Does anyone have questions so far? If you want to be fancy, what you can do is set up a chart that would explain like where all of our money is going. I'm not gonna do that because I'm lazy. I feel like stuff like bills can have enough variables to have to account for. Occasionally, yes. Rent is usually the same if you have a good landlord. Electricity can vary, but the best suggestion I have for electricity is for electricity and water is that you can get a system so that there's like a higher limit that you can have. It will be variable during different months, especially if you have to pay for like heating and cooling and that sort of stuff. But this is a basic one. You can modify it according to whatever desires you have. So if you have a household that has like if you got solar panels installed, that's a big upfront fee and then your electricity bill. Would accounting for an average over time be acceptable? Yes, but the biggest problem with accounting for averages is that it might get fucked over if you have 1 month where you just get utterly destroyed. Like, if you have a water heater thing and it bursts 1 month, your water bill is probably going to be higher. But you can do an average. But one of the basic rules of accounting and budgeting, never round down, always round up. Because if you round down, you are assuming that everything is going to be lower than expected. Always expect things to be higher than expected. Does anyone have questions as of yet? I do have one, actually. Your landlord refused to place the insulation in your house, so your power bill is through the roof. Also true. There's a lot of variation therein. Other stuff I'm going to show y'all at the end of this is ways to slowly reduce bills. Not to the point where everything becomes, like, non-existent, but more so that everything becomes more reasonable. You speak a lot of these southern problems that lead to things being higher than normal. How is one supposed to account for that? You can't! Welcome to America. There are a lot of ways to make it less stressful, such as using insurance and that sort of stuff. The only problem that comes with insurance is that people that are poor cannot afford insurance. There is a common statement that being poor is more expensive than being rich, and I agree with that wholeheartedly, which is why I try to do a lot of these services for free if I can. For example, if you were like middle class or higher and wanted to get a pair of boots for work, you would get like a fairly decent brand that will last a while. A poor person can probably not afford that. They can probably go to Walmart and get like a $20 to $30 pair of boots that'll last them like maybe a year. Your pair of boots that you got is probably around 90. However, that's going to last you like 4 or 5 years. The Walmart boots are going to last them maybe a year, maybe 2 if they don't get a ton of work. And then they have to buy a new one. If you also count inflation in, your $90 pair of boots is going to be a lot cheaper than the $30 pair of boots that you have to buy 3 or 4 times. Insurance is a way to minimize that sort of stuff. So if you have renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, car insurance, health insurance, all these different kinds of insurance, there is a lot of easier ways to handle that. I don't know as much about insurance because I only had 1 class on it. Brian David Gilbert does a good breakdown of how health insurance as the concept works. And a lot of different insurances work like that. Insurance is basically saying like, hey, if something goes bad, hi CC, if something goes bad, I am going to dip into the pool of money you all are making to make it less bad. In theory, it's great. In concept, it's terrible. Because a large amount of insurance people won't actually like follow up on your claims. Some of them just want you to get like the more expensive stuff for the sake of, hey, I gotta make a living too, you know? Animals also have insurance associated with them. Hi, Rain. Like, there are insurance is the way to like prepare for those circumstances, but I will also explain a way in order to do it better. Groceries, gas. Not it. Here we are. If metal falls on Rouge, she has to file an insurance claim and all of that jazz. Yes. Rouge is currently going through the insurance process, which also involves workers' comp and a whole lot of other stuff that I'm not fully fluent in. But basically, if you get injured at work and you have workers' compensation, health insurance, medical insurance, all that sort of stuff, it's a lot less expensive than if it fell on you and you weren't insured. Basically, the American system for any form of not working at 110% capacity is bad. Okay, so groceries. So groceries. So I'm making this area smaller because this is just based off of me. But these are like other things that you would probably have to enter into. And this is where it goes from like budgeting from like conceptual budgeting to actual budgeting, right? Okay. The sum function basically just makes it so that you have the sum of everything, you know? So for groceries slash eating out, this mostly depends on how much of a chef that you are. My recommendation is trying to learn one recipe a month. It normally would be one recipe a week, but that's not feasibly possible nowadays. Just because of how everything around us works, you know? So for groceries, the reasonable way is probably like $200 per person a month. Maybe slightly different. Ripley, that seems a bit high. This is assuming that you are not going out of your way to something like Sam's Club or Aldi or Lidl. This is assuming Chimkin and rice was my life for like 2 years. Also make sure to take care of yourself. I'm not saying that chicken and rice is bad. I'm not saying that, but you gotta have some variety. You gotta have different spices occasionally. You gotta have different flavors eventually. If you want good, no bullshit recipe ideas, Internet Shaquille here is great. He posts a lot of different recipes. He's like no bullshit. He like gets rid of a lot of the stigma around a lot of different ways to, like, cook and stuff. It is primarily Mexican, Spanish, Tex-Mex stuff. I say Spanish just because I don't know at what point it goes from Mexican food to Spanish food, because I'm not very fluent with those. Well, like, a lot of it's no bullshit. The other one is, not binging with Babbage. Struggle meals, also good. The only thing... Also, fried bologna sandwiches are great. But this guy basically just goes over, like, basic recipes. The only thing he does that I dislike to an extent is he does the whole assuming that you don't use the entire cost of everything. Yeah. Where is it? There it is. Like, he does 12 cents for one egg, which, like, my hungry ass could not budget for food. The goal is not to not budget for food. The goal is to have a reasonable expectation of how much your food is. right? Like, you don't want to be sitting there week 1 filet mignon, week 2 ice soup, you know? And sometimes you just need, like, food that'll get you through it, right? The other good person is Life with Boris. He does Russian food that's like hella struggle. Not eating on a budget, but budgeting what you do eat. Yes. Ice soup is so yummy. Rue, shut the fuck up. Like, the worst feeling is going to the store, buying an entire loaf of bread, and by like the next time you have to go to the store, you have to throw out half of it because you didn't eat all of it. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. The other thing is being able to balance time and money. You can sign up for stuff like Factor, like for you can sign up for Factor, you can sign up for HelloFresh, you can sign up for all of this shit. But at the end of the day, let's look at Factor real quick. They're down bad for me to come back, but that's fine. Like, you are getting 8 meals for $13 per meal. And like, the concept is you get more for cheaper, right? And like, hey, maybe you have an insane week, right? Maybe you have an insane week, you're working like 80 hours during the week, you're getting that overtime pay. Maybe you need 18 meals for those 7 days. I'm not gonna judge. But you do need to understand that you are paying $200 for 18 meals, right? Like, you have to understand that. Don't sign up for any of those food boxes unless they give you an entire free box from the get-go. Gas is variable. Right now, my sister does most of the driving, so I don't really pay attention to it. But the best equation I found is take the number of gallons that can fit in your tank, multiply it by the amount of gas, and then multiply it by those two times about twice. So for gas, we're just going to do a flat 100 to account for any fluctuations in the gasoline market. How is everyone? Is everyone doing good? I'm understanding so far. Okay. Entertainment, variable. How much in a month are you spending on movies, on date nights, on all of this different stuff that you are doing? How much are you spending on books? How much are you spending on animal toys? How much are you spending on this, that, or the other? Like, this is one of those things that can be extremely variable, but you have to account for any purchases. You have to be... The big thing about budgeting, and the big thing that a lot of people fuck up on with budgeting, you have to be honest with yourself. So you're budgeting to have expectations of your standard of living. You are budgeting so that you live within your means. One of the biggest problems in America is people that are like middle class or like lower class who think that they're above that. If I had a fucking dollar for every time someone said, yeah, I don't have money this month, I went too crazy, or people talking about how insane it is that they have, hi Miku, that they have like a car that costs them $2,000 a month. Like, I understand, I am privileged. I present as a white male, and I have a car from my dad that is fucking trying to survive. And I have a small amount of savings. Like, I have a lot of stuff going for me, and I have a decent job right now. But that doesn't mean I'm able to get a fucking car right now. My credit score is shit. By the way, we're not going to talk about credit scores. Good, bad, doesn't fucking matter. Because it's a game. And most people aren't good at games. Credit scores are dystopian. They are. Credit scores literally require you to jump through 4,000 hoops in order to get a slight bump to your score. But you fuck up one thing and they drop it by like 50 points. It's great. But entertainment. Here's what I do. I do 80 a month. And you then anytime a company has to go check, it makes it go down. True! But entertainment. I calculate $80 a month. That gets me 4 games that are on sale, 1 game that isn't on sale, and 1 normal game, or enough money that I don't feel awkward going out. What have you covered so far? Basic budgeting. I'm also going to be posting this to Discord so that people can copy it. This is our yearly gross pay. This is our monthly pay where we take our hourly pay and multiply it by 40. And then multiply it by another 40, so we multiply it by 160. Or multiply it by 4. Not 40 times 40, 40 times 4. And that gets us our monthly gross pay. We took the average tax rate, which I guess is 14.9, for our taxes. And chat just fucking crashed. That's lovely. Should be fixed. Then we get our net pay, which is our yearly monthly gross pay minus our monthly taxes. Then we covered all of our monthly fees that we require to like be a functional person, which is rent, electricity, water, phone, sewer, internet, and that gives us our total fees, which we then took out of our net pay. And now we are on things that we need to live. This is the average tax rate of the United States, so that's what we're using. No way, budget stream, budget stream. Exactly, hi Peeker. Oh my god, Peeker. Yeah, we are doing basic budgeting because I have a finance degree and I want to use it for something. Took finance class, but I already forgot. No worries. I'm a hotter teacher than that one. We both know that. So, next would be clothing. This, highly variable. I know that a large amount of people in our audience are trans. There are a lot of ways that we can look at this. If you have a job that requires you to dress all fancy, that's gonna do, that's gonna cost a different amount. If you have a job that requires you to, like, have somewhat nice looking clothing, you can't really hit up thrift stores, you know? My general recommendation, I wear my grandpa's clothes. Yes. Go to thrift stores for casual clothing or clothing in order to try it out because it'll be a lot cheaper in the long run. If you are trans and have like certain things about your body, do you shop for clothes often yourself? I shop for clothes as necessary. So my clothing budget is vastly different than most people's. My general suggestion is $75 because that gets you like a decent amount of garments. This will vary depending on what your job situation is like. If you work in a kitchen like me, they kind of don't really give a shit what I wear. I'm currently wearing a shirt from my old job and then like jeans that I've been wearing because I can't walk outside in my boxers. Yes, I'm a boxers girly. And yeah. Another thing to keep in mind is that a large amount of clothing built for the feminine body is not going to look good on a masculine body, especially if you have not started HRT yet, because they are built vastly differently, because life is hell. There are a large amount of different designers that focus on the trans look. Not so much the trans look, but like clothing for trans people that is gender conforming for their preferred gender. Look into those. I'm not super experienced, so do that. Also, thrift stores are always good. But 75 is a safe medium. Now, cleaning. You gotta clean your fucking house. I'm sorry. That's how it works. I have it set up so that each day I do one sort of cleaning thing around the house. Today I'm going to be cleaning my room. And you want to be able to have enough supplies for what you need. My general stuff, I'm using Menards because it's where I found most of the stuff that I use. Barkeeper's Friend is a hell of a drug. I've not used it before. It's about $2.50 at my place. Well, $2.75. This, hella good. This is like the actual bottle. This is like both things. Very helpful. This stuff you have to wet and then put on, but still very good. Is this one? That one's 13 ounces. That one's 26. That's double. Okay. That's not Barkeeper's Friend. That's bacon. Why are you screaming, Miku? Oh, did I got shrunk again at some point. It's fine. Or I just never turned it off. I don't know. Barkeeper's Friend, great for cleaning kitchens, great for cleaning bathrooms. The more spray is for bathrooms. I'm terrible at cleaning as of late. Bacon is Barkeeper's other friend, true. The other recommendation is, I think it is... What's cleaning? Yeah, this fucking dude.
Hi.
Love this dude. I haven't watched a ton of his videos, but he's very nice, very non-bullshit, very honest. His primary job is basically helping hoarders out of their situations and helping them clean up. Like, it's very hard for people with ADHD like me to get into cleaning. It's very hard for a lot of people to get into cleaning. This video.
Hi, welcome to Midwest Magic Cleaning. My name is Stone Cold.
He has like very dumb intros. One of them was, hi, my name is Fight Club, but let's not talk about that. Which is just really good. It's a really good line. This is a 30-minute video. He talks about how to like actually clean stuff, doing really cool work. Yes. But he's very honest about how everything works. He doesn't like nearly every single video where he does a hoarding cleanup, he is basically hitting it. I'm good at cleaning, but also good at making a mess. Hey, yo. No, that's usually how it works. But his video is good. I recommend Barkeeper's Friend for like kitchen stuff. We got a stainless steel cleaner and a stovetop cleaner that we use a lot. And yeah. Just like painting. Lol. True! I've also been drawing more. I'm still happy about my draws, for the most part. Faye says that the Miku one was good, but I think it's bad. So who's really right? Faye or Ripley? Student pains, relatable. Are these the refs? I'm gonna kill you. Paper everywhere. Miku, it's not that I disliked making it, it was that I think I could have done better. But I tried to make sure that you got it before your birthday. But cleaning supplies. He basically says you need some isopropyl alcohol, water, and dish soap, and then that covers most things. A lot of it is just getting the groundwork done and then building up from there. I'm gonna put it at 25. Well, frick you, I loved it. I humbly wish that people, when I ask them for what aesthetic they like, they stop saying, "Oh, sweet and cozy stuff," because that shit ain't Project Moon. Ooh. But with everything, we now have a general situation of what our budget will look like. So, after everything, we have approximately $475. So, does anyone have questions before we move on to the next thing? Noper is looking good. I think I'm understanding. Yes, 7. We'll get to that, Piku. You can do it all for commissions. I don't recommend that, but... Is a joke. I just draw my own commissions. Big saves. True! Faye's trying to draw. And she drew me, and she thinks it's bad, but I think it's great. So... once again, any questions before we move on to what we are doing with the last bit of money that we have? Faye is not trying, she's succeeding. True! Faye draws, she does! Who are the last 3 people I drew for Apotheosis? I'm sending the sheep person some of my draws. Shut up, Fang. We had Silent Sleepy, which we put under Pride. Bacillus Soup Rouge. Contempt Off A, also Pride. No, it's Lust. And the lewd one. And then Nosferatu Bias. Okay. Alright. So, first off, you guys gotta have savings. Ally Bank, super useful bank. You can't deposit cash or withdraw cash. But they have a savings account that has about a 4.20% APR. It means every dollar that you put in there, you get 4.2 cents every month. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. In the current state of the economy and inflation, you gotta have savings. You gotta try to get ahead. I know it's hard. I understand that, but you gotta try. Savings, you want to do 10% of your leftover. You can either do 10% or times 0.1. Either works. It's the same thing. Ripple told me to get ahead. Got it. Okay. If that's what you get away from it, sure. If... You know what? Mods, give Piku head. Thank you. Piku is mods. So are you, Faye. But you want to put around 10% just so you have a little bit of a threshold. You can put in more depending on how much stuff that you want to deal with. My other recommendation is have a hobby. And for the hobby, you want 15% of... I tend to use my savings place to put money aside to just use it later. Lol. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me repeat it for the people in the back. There is nothing wrong with using your savings account as a place to put money to use later. There is nothing wrong with that. If you buy a bottle of champagne, sometimes the reason that you're opening the bottle of the champagne is because you have a bottle of champagne. You don't have to wait for a rainy day to use something. You don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity to use something. You just gotta use it. Hi, Cryptos. Champagne tastes so good, actually. Stimkey bun. Cryptos, you keep calling me Stimkey and bad things are going to happen to you. Ally Bank also doesn't have any monthly fees or anything like that. It's fully online. You can deposit your checks through the app. They're very prompt on how to do things. Funny bubble wine. True. Worse than what's already happening? Yes. I'm going to tell you exactly when Fuwawa and Mokoko are going to graduate. I'm going to tell you when Korone will graduate. I'm going to tell you when all of your Oshis will graduate. And it's going to be right, because I'm always right. But you want to have a hobby of some sort. However, there are 2 rules for this hobby. 1, you are not making money off of it. You can if you want to, but that is not the goal. And 2, this hobby does not have to interfere or involve anyone else. It can, but it doesn't have to. Ripple, does video games count? No, that's entertainment. This is something to reset your soul. This is something so you can feel better. My hobby is paying people to draw me stuff. Cool, that's in the account. No, how will I enjoy my free time without a profit incentive? I don't know, man. Like, it could be catch and release fishing. It could be knitting. It could be, I don't know, body painting, food, whatever. Doesn't matter. Cannibalism? Cannibalism's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle. Come on, Cryptos, keep up. Overthinking my favorite hobby. No. Bad. Wasting money is my hobby? No. We are not wasting money. We are... The only time you can waste money is if you get food and get nothing out of it. If you go out and get, like, Taco Bell, there's nothing wrong with that. If you go out, get Taco Bell, and then throw it in the trash, that's wasting money. Nothing that we have on this sheet is a waste of money. Nothing you do as a person. What if you get food poisoning? You're getting Taco Bell. You're getting food poisoning. There's no in-between for that, Peeker. It's just how it works. So, the goal of any money that we have is to make sure that we have something that we can do with it. That's not to say having leftover money is bad. Like, we still have, what is this, 10, 25, we still have 25% of our money left over. Fun money is basically like stretching whatever we need to. Well, actually, let me fix that. So, stretch money is basically money that we are keeping for the case of if something happens. If gas prices go up, if food prices go up, if we have to make a flight somewhere, blah, blah, blah. That's what stretch money is for. If a bill is higher than expected, this is so we have enough of a pillow that we don't have to worry about it. That leaves us with fun money, which is 25% of our true net value. Now, this may seem kind of sucky. I understand that. Like, if we really want to, we only get 59% of, well, actually not even that, because it would be, yeah, we get about 50% of our money back after we pay off everything. Technically, yeah, we play around with about 25% of our gross income after everything. Which is just how America works. It sucks, but that's how it works. How is everyone feeling? Feeling generally informed. Good. That's the goal. I'm feeling like America is stupid. Other than that, good. Yeah, America is stupid. I feel I'm understanding, but I'll have to check the previous info for more context. Now is the time to ask questions, if anyone has questions. I'll go over everything that we need to, again, if needed. If there's something that y'all are confused by, I'll go over it again. There's no questions. We're gonna take a small break, and then we're going to do some Noita and some other games. So we went from 3 people. Probably reach out to you once you guys post it on the server if I have any questions. Okay. A lot of this I made so that it's autofills. Any queen hardware? Fuck. No. I got a job. Oh. Sounds correct. And the hobby thing is probably a good idea. It's to make sure you stay sane. But we went from 3 people that didn't believe that they were financially literate to 4 people thinking that they can make a budget, which is pretty good in my opinion. I am going to walk around a little bit, and then we'll switch to Noita.